Welcome guys. So in our series of MySql, today we are going to talk about binary and relay logs. What are those, how they help in our database and how we manage them. So let's discuss all them. So let's start the video. So first of all we are talking about binary logs. What are those? So binary logs contain events like that describes database changes such as table creation or any changes to data. So we have, if we have any change in our tables or anything, they will be recorded in binary logs. How they record it, we'll see that later, but first of all we're just talking about uh, how they are, what they are. So it also contains events for statements that potentially could have made changes unless row based log, like we have a row based or mixed and statement based. So three types of them, we'll be discussing them in next videos. So the binary logs also contain information for how long the each statement took that updated data, also like how for how long that execute the statement took to execute, and how long that is running to fetch the data, all that thing. So binary log contains everything about the script which is going to change any data, or and how long that is executed. So it has two important purposes. First of all, for replication. So without binary logs you can't replicate your database. Okay, so for replication, the log on a replication source server provides a record of the data changes on the. So what we have in our master server, that changes are provided to replication server with the binary logs. Everything we have updated in our database, that is being updated in the binary logs, and then slave server is accessing that. We'll be discussing this in next slide. How is the working of the slave server? So okay, this that's the all thing we have discussed. And also binary logs are required for certain data recovery options, like if we have our certain broke down in our database and we want to recover the database. So we'll binary logs, with the help of binary logs we can do point in time recovery for the database. Okay, so here we have three formats of binary logs. Like these can be updated in our my.ini or my.cnf files, the configuration file for MySQL. And we have, if we, these are the parameters, we can use them for binary log of formats that can be statement or row based or mixed. So what is these? So replication capabilities in MySQL originally based on propagation of SQL statements from source to replica. Okay, that's how it is. This is called statement based logging, like one statement and then another statement. So that is called statement based. You can ask binary log to do statement based logging with this parameter: bin log format, then statement. So in row based logging, this is the default login for MySQL. The source writes events of the binary log that indicates how individual table or rows are affected. Like uh, if the row is affecting with some update, delete, or anything, so it is row based, and we can use this parameter in MySQL ini, my.ini or my.cnf in configuration file with this bin log format row. And the third option is mixed logging. With mixed logging, statement-based logging is used by default, but the logging mode switched automatically to row-based in certain cases. Okay, so you can cause like this. You can use bin log format mixed. So you can also use in your MySQL inside your MySQL server, like where with when you're accessing MySQL, you are connected to MySQL. Inside that, you can use set global bin log format row if you want the next things to be uh, when your server is up and you want the next logging should be row statement or mix, so you can use these, and the statements after that, the binary log will be updated them in the MySQL updated them in binary logs on from the next statement or next transaction in this format. Okay, after you have executed it, so you can do it at runtime as well. But if you want your server to be treated like this all the time after it is restarting, so you need to add this in configuration file my.ini or cnf. Okay, so the binary log is not used for statements such as select or show because they do not update any uh, or update or modify any data. So unless it is modifying or updating any data, that will not be recorded in binary logs. That will be recorded in general logs. That's another logging of MySQL. So we'll be discussing that later. But till now, right now, we are going to discuss about binary logs only. So select and show database, show tables, those things are not inserted in binary logs. What are relay logs? So we have talked like binary logs are on the master server. So what are the relay logs? So relay logs, like the binary log, consist of a set of numbered files containing events that describe database changes, and an index file that contains the name of all used relay log files. Relay log files have the same format as binary log files and can be read using MySQL bin log. You can use MySQL bin log. This is the utility provided by MySQL developers like MySQL, MySQL D, MySQL dump. We have already discussed about MySQL dump in our previous videos. So those are all utilities provided by MySQL developers so that we can use them and do our things for our our daily tasks related to database. So in a master replication setup MySQL, relay logs plays a crucial role in the replication process. They are required for replication process. If we do not have relay logs, the replication won't be updated, or that's not consistent with the master. We do not think that replication will work without these. So these are the type of binary logs that is specific to the slave servers. If we are talking about relay logs, so we are sure that they are related to, we have a master slave configuration. For slave we have relay logs. They contain record of changes received from master server and are used to replicate those changes on the slave. Okay. Okay, and also relay logs are particularly useful for replication. Yeah, they provide a buffer between master and the slave server. Like, what are the changes made in the master uh, after some time? If the script is running 5 minutes on the master, then after completing on the master, uh, it will run on the slave for 5 minutes. So that's the buffer space you can see for the slave server to be updated for as in the sync field with the master. So they allow the slave server to store and apply changes independently, even if the connection to the master is temporarily lost. Like if we have master server, master slave configuration, and somehow the connection broke, the network broke down, or slave server stopped. So slave server will pick the changes for master server uh, from the position where it was broken down or where it was left, where it left the connection. So that's the process of uh, relay logs, and so that it will read the relay logs from the position where it is the connection was lost or the server was stopped. So the slave can catch up and downloading the missing events from the master's binary log and storing them in the relay log. So that's the connection after the connection is restored. So the slave server, the relay logs of slave server will catch up the downloading of the binary logs of the master. Like again, it will make the connection and start loading the binary logs from the master onto the slave. So how is this working? The complete binary and slave binary and relay logs. How's the complete working? How they help master and slave server to work. So first thing, master server. The master server records all the changes made to the database in its binary log. That we all know. Okay. Once we set up the binary log position, we enable the binary logs. Then master logs saves it. Master server saves it in binary logs. So those are called master binary logs. These changes include insert, update, delete, and other modifications. Everything that's gets saved in master binary logs. So what's in the slave server? The slave server connects to the master server and requests replication of the changes recorded in the master binary logs. So it requests to access these master binary logs. The slave downloads these master binary logs, events, and stores them in the relay logs. So all the changes in the master binary logs will be saved on the slave server on relay logs. So all the things be updated to master binary logs to relay logs. We can call them relay logs only. And after that, the slave server reads the event from the relay logs like it's on. We have updated the slave server updated everything in the relay logs. So and then the slave server reads the events from the relay logs and one by one and applies them into the local copy of the database on the slave server, so that everything will on the slave server will be updated. The database on the slave server will be updated as what we have in the binary logs, and binary logs are what we have on the master server. So this is how slave applies these changes with the help of relay logs. This process allows the slave server to replicate the same changes that occurred on the master server, keeping the slave database sync with the master. So once we have sync in the master slave replication setup, those are sync master slave replication seconds behind the master. We can check that parameter seconds behind master on the slave server. So if that is 0, so after that everything after the setup, if that's parameter is 0, so after that everything will be on the master will get updated on the slave server with the help of relay logs. So this is the concept of relay logs, which is very useful, and we cannot replicate the binary logs, the changes on the master to the slave server. We cannot replicate without the relay logs. So we have one other topic here, relay log rotation. So what's that? So as the slave server processes the events from the relay logs, it marks them as executed. Okay, so once the changes here, so once the replication process is after every command one by one, so it applies the changes. So then after the relay log apply marks them as executed. So once the event is successfully applied, it can be safely removed, because after that is applied successfully on the slave, so there is no need to uh, have them in the slave server, because that will unnecessarily occupy the data. So to free up the disk space, we have this process. This is called relay log rotation, so that it can after the changes events are applied to the slave server, it can be removed from the relay logs. So after those are applied, they are removed, and this frees up the disk space. We call this process as relay log rotation, and we can watch it with variables relay log purge. While we are working on the lab, we'll see this. So by using relay logs, the slave servers can ensure that it stays up to date and the master server changes And even in scenarios where there are network interruption, we have already discussed this. So if there is network interruption, so once the connection is restored, the slave server will read the binary logs from the position where it left the connection. Okay, so that's all, and we'll be talking in lab. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so you can use this parameter, show slave status, and it will show you things like this: what are the master server and what are the slave server, what are the binary logs, what are the master log file, what are the master log position, what is the relay log files. Actually, I'm using this SQL yoke for this. If we are using command prompt, so that will be like, that's not we can show in this much easy. That's not the correct format. We can that very like, we cannot show, I cannot show that to you easily as I can show you here. So I'm using this SQL log here. So binary logs, relay master log position, relay log file, relay log position, what's the position of relay logs. So everything is slave IO running, slave SQL running. So everything is mentioned here. With this show slave status, we can, there's one more parameter which is very much important here. uh, that is, okay, that is seconds behind master. This is the most important parameter when you are uh, checking if your slave is sync with the master or not. So if that is more seconds behind, or something got stuck in here, so it will show some thousand seconds, milliseconds in thousand, or maybe 2000, 15,000. So this is how you can see, and you can check what are the process running by show process list. With this you will see all the process list, all the processes running on it. Okay, so I'm going to show you what's the position of it. Okay, so we have our relay logs in here at MySql. Okay, and you see we have this much in here. I'll show you in the uh, here in our MySql data directory, not the data directory, not in ini file, how we have the relay logs. Okay, so you see these are the location of binary logs on the master. You can have it here or not, if that depends on you, because it is slave server, so that's not required here, but still you can use that. These are the parameters related to relay logs. Okay, we can also use ignore, if we want to ignore a database, if we want to ignore a table, we can use that. Okay, you see expire log days 7, so after 7 days the binary logs will be removed. So we are taking the binary logs of 7 days only, and this is the location of binary logs. So how, and these are the parameters for relay logs. You see there are three files. One is relay bin index, and relay log info. What are those? Let's see. Okay, but first I'm going to show you. These are the tables. We do not want them to replicate. So these are the replicating node tables. We can use them. Okay. We'll discuss all these parameters in our next videos. Okay. So this is also one parameter which is required for uh, server ID. Okay, here server ID 2. For master the server ID should be 1 or anything, but that master and slave do not have the, must not have the same server ID. So this is the most important parameter when you are setting master and slave. Okay, so let's go to this location. What's that location? Yeah, saw it. This is MySql relevant index. Okay, E drive, then MySql. So here are the three files, like These are the two files, same files. Relay bin, these are the two files which are having relay logs, relay bin index and relay bin log info. So what do we have in this file? Relay bin index. So this is showing your relay logs. You see we have two relay log files, 626, 627. So let's see we have it here or not. 626, 627 on the relay log position where we have set up relay logs. 626, 627. These are the two files we have. Okay, so after this we have relay log info. What's this file? It will show you what the relay log which is currently running, 627 that is currently running. Okay, so 627 it is currently running. You see the current one. What's the position? We'll see the position with here. Show slave status. We can see it here. You see relay log position 6738921. We can see it here. 6738921. Okay, and this is binary log and binary log position. We can also see that in here. This is binary log and binary log position. You see these are same. 627 706 706 and what is the binary log file? 208. You see 208 and 6738706. 6738706. Okay, so these are everything you'll see in these files. These are the index and info files, and these are the relay log files. So here we have completed this master and relay logs. What are those and how we check them? So thank you, and I'll be seeing you in my next video. So thanks.